What's up guys, Justin here back for another video, and this one is actually on the Battlefront 2 beta that came out on Friday. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of, or actually all of the multiplayer modes that they give you the option to play, and I will talk over it and kind of explain things as I go just to give you guys a bit of an idea of what's going on. So without further ado, let's jump into this here. Now, each multiplayer map has a different, is on a different planet. So this one is on Naboo. So you get to this screen here and you have the option to choose between 4 different classes. The Assault, Heavy, Officer, and Specialist class. And each class has a different weapon, has different attributes, and it'll do different things. So I started it off here with the Assault class, just because it was the first one. So we wait for this to get going, and here you guys start. You start with a group of people and you just run off, and I believe this was the Intergalactic Assault, I believe is what they called it. So I am playing as a stormtrooper fighting droids. I got a little confused there about what the heck that thing was, but... And there are different droids as well, some stronger than others, as you can see there. So now I switch to the Heavy class, and you can see the other people I'm spawning with at this time. So the Heavy class, you get a different gun, you get a different grenade, you get a different special ability, and you actually get a shield with the Heavy class, which I think I show you in a later video. You do have the ability to roll, which you just saw back there. So of all the classes that I used, my 2 favorites were the Heavy class as well as the Specialist class. That was my other favorite class. And now I go to the Officer class. I'm not a huge fan of the Officer class. I don't really see much of a purpose, but I didn't mess with it all that much. You get this little handgun here that I like to call it, a laser handgun. So this is the Specialist class. There's a Sith Lord right there. So the Specialist class, you actually do get a scope to zoom in through. Now I start back again with the Assault class. And one thing I would like to say with this beta is for this particular multiplayer map, I guess I would say, you are playing in the prequel trilogy, so the ones made in the 2000s. So you have the original clones, and you're facing droids because that was the main enemy of in those movies was droids. They used a droid army. Right there, I just got blown up by a wrist rocket. So then I play with the Assault class again. So as you can see, we are in overtime now. Up there at the top of the screen, you can see that. Oh, and then I did switch over to the Heavy class. So you see you have a mini map down here, and on the bottom right hand corner, that's all the attributes. The left bumper is a grenade. If you press both at the same time, you turn into a sentry with a minigun, and then the right bumper is a force shield that you get to hold up.
Nicely done, boys. Nicely done. Separatists are pulling back and our fleet's arriving in system. I'd call this a victory.
I will show you what the Starfighter option was like. You get to play that as well. So it's the same basic thing. You only get 3 Starfighters to choose from in this instance. I am fighting on the Empire. You get the TIE Fighter, a TIE Interceptor, and a TIE Bomber to choose from, so I started with the TIE Interceptor here. The TIE Interceptor, I think, is my favorite one to fly. It's to me, it's the easiest one to control. So here we have to defend ourselves from the rebels. We do have heat-seeking missiles that you can use in this, as well as just regular laser cannons. It does take some time to get used to when it comes to flying these, because everything is kind of backwards. It's a lot like flying the planes in Battlefield. So here are the bombers coming in. So the objective is to make sure that none of these bombers actually hit their mark and actually blow up some of your base. So now I switch to a TIE Fighter, and you can they actually do make the sounds and everything that you hear in the Star Wars movies, which is cool. Some starships are a lot harder to defeat than others. I will say that. The bombers are usually heavily fortified, so they usually will take more shots to get them down than the other ones. It's also the bombers are also slower as well, so it kind of depends on what your fighting style is. I believe I missed with that shot there I don't know how the heck I missed that, but that's a bomber for the Republic. And like I said, they're a lot harder to shoot out of the air than you would expect. But I could not get this guy for whatever reason. So in that instance, I was just trying to let the starship heal itself. And then I ended up crashing anyway, so like it mattered. That really pissed me off. I freaking did that.
The rebels will think twice before daring to attack these yards again.
I have I think two videos in which I recorded in the strike mode, which the strike multiplayer mode was probably my favorite out of them. This one it's actually based in the Force Awakens. So first I started with a assault class there. With the assault class you actually do get a scope, which was surprising to me. And this is the specialist class here. This one again, usually the specialist classes and the heavy classes are my two favorite classes to use while playing this beta. And I will probably end up getting the game as well. And then you actually do get binoculars here with basically X-ray vision that allow you to see where enemy forces are, which in my opinion is very, very helpful. So you can roll as well. I know that this game does give you the option to go to a third-person perspective and not a first-person perspective, but I personally like that first-person perspective a lot better. The first-person shooter games are the ones I really play, so to keep it like this, to me, made the game a lot more entertaining and a lot more engaging. So here I am back as an officer again. And again, I can't do anything with this stupid officer class. I was like the only person I ever killed with an officer class. You can melee as well, so I meleeed that person, which was very beneficial to me, otherwise I was going to die. And for the officer classes, you also get a special grenade a special ability, which will just shoot the grenade there, and then you also get a turret that you can set up, an automatic turret that you can deploy, and that can be used to engage enemies, and that was the end of the game. There's where Maz Kanata is, that actually gets blown up in The Force Awakens, so that is really cool that they put that in there. And then lastly, I have my final, I like to call the final battle that I did. This was also a strike, but this one I used a lot of the heavy class in this actually. I did a lot of the heavy class in this one because this was a game that I was never actually at first intending to use in the video, but I got a lot of good footage from it, so I decided to use it. I won't use all of it because this video is obviously going to be fairly long, but like I said, the heavy class is probably my favorite, then followed by the specialist, then the assault, then the officer. So this is the first order heavy weapon that you get to use, and it's the same. The heavy classes are the same no matter what. You get the same grenade, the same special ability, and the same force field basically that you get to use. A lot of the times I forgot the force field was there, so I never ended up using it. But it's nice if you do remember it's there. I actually did get someone with a grenade there. That was a pretty good series right there. I got 3 people. But like I said, if the artifact is not picked up by one of your allies, one of the First Order stormtroopers, it actually goes back to where it started. And then everybody's got to run back there, pick it up, and we got to start all over again. So I like the heavy class because you have a long time before you have to let it cool off, let it take a break, and these do naturally cool off on their own. You don't always have to hit the X button to let them cool off, and also your grenades regenerate. You don't get a set amount of grenades per game. You actually throw one, and it takes a certain amount of time for it to regenerate, and then you get a new one. It's the same way with everything you get to use, the force field, the grenade, the sentry. And then obviously if you get there's the force field I was speaking of. It basically blocks bullets from the waist up, and then you can put it back whenever, put it down whenever you want to. You don't have to keep it up all the time. So yeah, all in all, I think the beta for this game was fantastic. I have a lot of fun playing it. I'm still playing it, obviously. I have until tomorrow to play it when the beta shuts down. And then you basically have the option to pre-order it now through the beta or wait until the game comes out in November. Mid to late November, I believe is what it is. But one thing they did say in this beta was that this beta actually had a storyline, the campaign storyline was useful and basically necessary to the overall story of Star Wars. They said it helped bridge the gap between The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, so you get a little bit more detail in there about what happened in that time. But it's a very good beta. I have a lot of fun playing it, and I plan on buying the game when it does come out. I hope that you guys like this video. It's a little different than what I normally do, but I figured I'd give it a shot, and I figured you guys would rather hear my voice than see my ugly mug. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.